Hey everyone, this is Eric Loper from 37 Consulting. We specialize in helping organizations scale through partnerships. And with me today is one of our clients, Mike Taylor.
Hey, Eric.
Mike, do you want to take a second to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Mike Taylor, CEO of Innovative E. We specialize in project portfolio management and work management on the modern Microsoft platform. So we have been in business for many years now. Really kind of focused more in this space over the last 10 or 12 years. And yeah, the partnership to us with Microsoft is absolutely at the center of our kind of our business universe. And we have several other partners we work with, but we have really I'd say doubled and tripled down on the Microsoft partnership over the last several years. So, and 3.7's been a big part of that over the last couple of years, especially. So, thank you.
Well, and it's paid off. And so, I think really I'd just love to celebrate you today. Congrats on back-to-back Partner of the Year wins. I can tell you there's only it's less than two fingers of folks who have been in a place where they've been able to win back to back, and there's thousands of companies that would just love to win one time. And so, from my perspective, Mike, I just love to spend a couple minutes today, really hearing your story and allowing you to share that across the community.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eric. Yeah, so second year in a row. We had won a few times. We'd been finalists, and we'd won MSUS Partner of the Year back in 2020, I think. But we kind of got over the top here last year, and then just found out that we have won again for 2024, FY 2024. So just super honored and humbled to really be in this. There's a lot of great partners in this space, and to be recognized as one of the top partners is just super awesome. And we couldn't have done it without, of course, our customers. They're number one. They're the reason we do everything we do. And we have some really forward-looking customers who have really embraced the new platform and what we see as the vision for the platform, and bringing that to project and work management and applying AI to that. And of course, we couldn't do it without our team, which is just awesome. We have an awesome team. They work super hard, both here and our folks in Sri Lanka. And then, of course, our partners. We have some really select, really good partners. Best of Class and Bravo Consulting helps us out. We have Lytics who helps us out with a lot of marketing stuff. And then, of course, 3.7. I don't think it's any coincidence that maybe we've kind of go over the top to win Partner of the Year 2 years in a row. Been working with you guys about 2.5 or 3 years, so it's pretty exciting.
I love that. I love that alignment. I'll take that. Now, is it? I mean, gauntlet down with the team. Like after that happens, so just take me in the moment. Second time winning. Does the gauntlet come out for run for the three-peat?
Well, we're going to try, and we're going to give it our best. But I think really the essence of winning comes down to, I've had other partners who haven't submitted before, and some who haven't been successful. Who've asked us about what does it really take to be successful, and it's not about just the application and being in the moment. It's really about wrapping your business around the partnership with Microsoft. And so we will continue to do that, and we will continue to deepen that, at every level, and continue to work with them. So, if we do what we should do in the partnership, I think we have a good shot, again in the future.
I love the intentionality. Maybe that we'll talk in a minute about the keys to success, but I'm gonna guess that one's on the list.
Yeah.
Maybe real quick, how did you get down this career path where you find yourself scaling through an ecosystem?
Yeah, so I started my career doing project work management, software development, and then I had another company before that was really centralized around distributed infrastructure and things back in the client server days. And then Innovative E really moved more towards a lot more of the software aspects of it, which is kind of back to my origins. And as we progressed through the years, we found ourselves doing a lot more in the collaborative work management space. A lot of stuff around SharePoint and doing those things. And we found ourselves getting closer and closer to Microsoft again as we did that to really go to market together and learn how to really embrace that ecosystem. And of course, a lot of our business in the project space, going back 8 or 10 years ago, was really driven from working with the field. So we worked a lot with the sellers. We had a lot of project SSPs out there. We had the product marketing group that we would work with in the U.S. and work with, how we go to market and get tighter and tighter with those guys. So it's really the partnership and the alignment with Microsoft has always been key to us, but it's gotten more and more so over the last several years. So that's kind of the way our journey was. As we started getting deeper into it, we started seeing more success, and of course, when you see success, you want oh, yeah, I want some more of that. So we continue to double down and build better and better relationships within Microsoft and other partners.
Now, can you talk for just a minute about the your solution? Like, how would that help a Microsoft seller be successful?
Yeah, so it's interesting. The whole solution space has really turned almost upside down. It went from kind of being very kind of solution centric to being more SaaS centric as the cloud, born in the cloud solution. So we were doing a lot of adoption and change management with the project. We were selling Microsoft Project, or we weren't really selling it, but we were supporting it. Microsoft would sell directly or through their LARs or whatever. And then the last few years with the platform modernization, it's taken a turn almost back to its roots of being more solution and software focused. Even though it's low code and no code and AI, a lot of this has been it's platform specific. So while we're using the project management tools that Microsoft have, it's really our solution set has broadened out to take advantage of the whole platform. So in terms of working with the Microsoft folks, I think there's a much broader set of folks within Microsoft who might care about what we can bring to the table for our customers, because it's a broader set. It's not necessarily just just a bunch of folks within a project management or EPMO or something, which may be a few hundred people, but they may be in an organization that has 40,000 people. And now you're talking about, and this aligns with Microsoft's vision for their products and collaborative work management too, is to really try to bring that to a larger audience, and we can do that with the whole platform. So it's more of a platform approach to solving problems.
Got it. So it sounds like there's a lot that you're pulling together. Sounds like you're, enabling AI,
We are.
and you're doing that within this kind of really unique project and team scenario.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We actually got the vision for doing this about, I think it was late 2018. We were invited as a select group of partners out to Redmond and they were previewing what they were doing with what would become Project for the Web, now becoming the new Planner with Premium Features. And they were demoing how they were building. It was a first-party app being built in the Power Platform. So it was super interesting to see what they were doing and how the Dataverse and all the components would bring together. At the same time, we had some demos from the Azure AI folks, and they were in their, I guess now earlier phases of really doing machine learning and showing how the machines could reason over things that humans would normally look at. It could read, it could write, it could do those kinds of things. And so we got really fascinated with the fact that there was a convergence of these technologies that were coming together on the platform, and we really could see that in the project management space, a big part of the problem you have with being successful in project management is a disconnect between the people and the systems that actually govern the people and the work that's going on. You have to enter the data into a project management
Yeah.
tool to be able to get it to work. So we saw this gap and what Microsoft was doing on the platform to be able to bring those things together and start to apply AI and, of course, all the low-code, no-code automation components in a central area into the Dataverse. And then, of course, with all the connectors to all the different applications, hundreds of them that are out there, all of a sudden it was like a light bulb went off and we went, hey, this is the future of project and work management.
Yeah. Now, you talked about that moment a couple years ago where you were sitting down and you had to make a conscious decision to scale through the channel. There's a lot of people that are at that crossroads. Like
Hmm.
I meet with executives all the time, and I hear, gosh, I would really love it if 20 to 30% of my business came from my channel. And, I can envision that in a lot of those cases, there's a desire to get to that point and be recognized and be an industry standard. So can you talk about what that moment was and, really what led you down this path of, deciding that you wanted to bet big?
Yeah, it was really, I think there was a few things that came together. Microsoft's model was changing as they evolved into the real cloud-centric approach and the modern platform, and then, of course, now to the AI partner model. At the same time, the space that we were in, which is a relatively small space in the overall Microsoft ecosystem, it's a billion-dollar business or so, but the whole Microsoft ecosystem is not a huge part of their business. But they were evolving rapidly as well, and they were being less focused on the field seller system that had been in place for a long time and a lot more partner reliant. So that put a lot of I guess the onus back on the partners like us to really bring the value and be able to demonstrate to the customers and work with the larger Microsoft ecosystem to really be able to be effective in that partnering ecosystem, because it was no longer we had to know the 15 SSPs throughout the U.S. Or whatever and work with them. So it was a transitional moment, and we really knew that we needed to get deeper into that ecosystem. And at the same time, about I guess 1 year and a half, 2 years ago, Microsoft started changing the partner alignment within what was the old designations, or not designations, but the competencies, and they switched to the designations. And we knew we needed help with that, which is one of the reasons we started working with 3.7 as well, because that became a very complicated and it was sort of arduous journey to get there, from being one of the product-focused companies that didn't have necessarily a good product alignment within the new program suite. So we knew we needed to navigate those waters in order to be closer to Microsoft, to actually be able to shift our business model and be more successful. So it's kind of a bunch of things that were coming together at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that brought you on your journey to us.
Yeah. I'm glad we found you.
And so then, what does that look like in terms of your client interactions? How has that evolved as you've moved through this process?
Yeah, I think the clients. It's funny how Microsoft always promotes a partner ecosystem and a partner first approach in many cases, depending on the product you're working with. But it's funny how much the customers always want to know what it is. They want to talk to Microsoft, or they want to get Microsoft's perspective on something. So being really close to Microsoft and having that alignment and knowing exactly what they're going to say brings that credibility to those customer conversations. And sometimes we bring them things. We're an extension of Microsoft in many ways, because there's only so many people that they can deal with. So the partners have to be an extension. So in having those conversations, we build the credibility because of our relationship with Microsoft to be that extension and give them good, credible advice and good, credible solution development and building and best practices and things like that. So it's really paid off in that regard for our customers, I think.
Yeah. And so then as you're moving through a process like this, I think a lot of folks would be really curious to hear, how do you go from sort of the speed dating, frenzy of, we're trying to be in a place to build these relationships, to really getting to that point where you have, a sense of trust and you have clarity on, what it looks like to win together.
You mean specifically with like Microsoft and the partner ecosystem there? Yeah, I think it's really a matter of leaning in. You can't be, it's kind of like Yoda says, you can't, there is no try, do or do not. So you have to commit to it, and you have to commit big, because it means that you're committing multiple levels. You're committing to working with a partner, or the product marketing folks. You're committed to working with the field. You're committed to working with the engineering folks. One of the things we always try to do is say yes whenever we're asked anything, and always say we're here to help however we can. So if engineering has a particular question about how the customers are responding to a certain thing, we're like happy to talk about our experiences, give you what little insight we can, or maybe it's good insight, who knows, but we're always willing to say yes. And I think that really helps lean into it and help build that relationship and that trust that is really foundational to the whole thing.
I love that focus on commitment. I think sometimes we make partnership into this complicated thing. And, the reality is it's two people looking across the table from each other. But it's logical that only works when both people are committed and you shake hands and you follow through.
Yeah, 100%.
So I love that you highlighted that. Do you have any lessons learned, like leadership lessons learned through your partner journey that you would give, sort of coaching or advice, your sage Yoda advice to other leaders who are on their journey?
Let's see. I would say, well, one thing is if you commit to it, you have to commit to it, like I already said. The other thing is you really have to, and this is, I think, true with any partnership. And part of that commitment is, like you said, you're sitting across the table from somebody. You have to really understand what are their motivations and why the partnership would be good for them. What can they get out of it? Because at the end of the day, people are busy, and we've gone through over many years a lot of different people we work with in Microsoft, even in the same roles. We've gone with multiple people that have been, the product marketing lead, the engineering lead, the different folks in different areas. So you have to always, when somebody leaves in a role and somebody else is in the seat, you have to kind of reestablish that relationship and say, what is it that you need from the partnership? What is it that you're incented? Your skip level management. Where are you going? And then you have to do it every year too, right? Because Microsoft realigns their goals every year, about this time of year. So it's coming up.
I would say that's one of those things. It's kind of funny. You would think that we would all be fantastic leaders. We're working in a industry that's there, but so often we sort of just expect that someone in a partnership model is going to do what we say because they're partners.
Oh yeah.
And really, we shouldn't expect that our employees are going to do what we say because they're employees. We should be thinking about the value for them.
Exactly.
But I think it's one of those that, as leaders, we really need to be tuned in to this fact that we are going to be so much more successful. And I think partnership really sits within that.
Oh, I agree.
So, Mike, as you're kind of looking across the industry, you're focused here, but what do you see as the big bet? What do you see as the opportunities that, other leaders in the industry should be thinking about on the horizon here over the next, let's say 12 to 18 months?
Well, the cliche thing to say would be AI.
A little bit. There's a little bit going on there.
A little bit going on there. But it's more than just saying AI. And again, you talk about leaning into it. To do it well, what we determined is we really needed to. I've always kind of had a soft spot for expert systems and AI. I did some of that earlier in my career, did some software development in it. So I've always been thinking about ways that you could apply it. So like I said, when the watershed moment happened a few years ago, it was like, we're going to jump on this. But I think in the context of AI specifically is to really understand where your organization can add value and where you don't have the expertise, and maybe that's a good opportunity for a partnership, and really bring just getting super focused and talking about partnerships. I think in leadership in general, you didn't really ask it this way, but I think one of the really important pieces is to focus on a selective strategic set of partnerships, because you really can't invest the real time and energy into it, or at least we can't, for a big number of partnerships. There was a point in the past, maybe 10 or 12 years ago, where we had 15 partners. We were doing a lot of partnering, but none of them very well. Even Microsoft was one of them. So we really, getting into what that is from investing in the relationship. But the big bets, AI, security is going to be huge. There's a lot going on in the space, and in our segment of the world, the project management space, we hear our customers, they'd love to do more with AI, and they'd love to do more with automation on the platform and the interconnectivity, but they're super concerned about security. They're super concerned about PII and getting their data, and they don't necessarily understand how all the pieces are working together. So in many cases, their InfoSec departments and things are shutting down and just saying, no, you're not getting any of that till we understand it better. So I think helping educate your customers in your particular piece of it, so you can help them work with their constituents to figure out how they can apply these technologies, because it is super beneficial from a business perspective. I think a lot of people see a lot of the value, but I think being able to really help them navigate those waters is going to be critical for all of us.
Can you talk for a minute about just the idea with your platform of having AI infused? I think that it's really easy for all of us to think we're going to go out and sell, like people are going to go buy some AI. And there's a little bit of that, right? Like I'm going to get a Copilot or a bot, and there's a place for that. But I think that the majority of what our future looks like we're still buying the same things that we're buying today, but there's AI infused within those. And so can you talk a little bit about sort of your journey and your solution and what that looks like in terms of having AI infused solution versus just walking around and sort of peddling acronyms?
Right. Yeah. Well, I could give you a specific example, because we do these demos and we show, like, for those who are familiar with Microsoft Copilot, the Teams Copilot is really interesting to us because we think all the work in project management is going on within Teams and most organizations that own it. So if you've used the Teams Copilot, I can give like an actual tangible example. You can use the Copilot to go and read the transcripts of the meeting, and you can do a meeting summary. You can ask it to do project management things, right? Like tell me about the action items and the risk and the issues and things like that were in there, and it will do that. It will reason over the text, and it will give you a pretty good facsimile of what that, Eric had an action item, Mike had
Yeah.
Mike needs to take care of this risk or whatever, and that's good. And that's, like you said, that's like out of the box, and all you need to know is a little good prompt engineering, and you can work on that. One of the things we've done is we've gone a step further. We've actually taken where we can read those transcripts and we apply AI to it, and we reason over it with a certain algorithm that says we want you to look for action items, and we give it a set of things that a parameter thing, probably similar to what Copilot does. But what it will do then is it takes it a step further and allows for action items and issues, or risk rather. It will actually present cards back to the project manager and allow them to then further refine the decision of, is this an action item, or if it's a risk, assign my probability, assign my the severity, and then it will do the calculation, and then it will also put it into a risk registry. So it takes that same set of events that you could do with Copilot and Gen AI out of the box, and it takes it further into an actually application in the project management world. And we're doing that across the board.
Right. Right.
And I think that's the way you can talk about infusing AI. And you've mentioned this term before, the symbiotic AI with people. In doing that, now you're going to have better data in there. So project managers,
yes,
it's hard to always keep up with things like your issues, your risk, your status meetings, your task updates, all those kind of things. The more we can have AI do that work for us, or at least assist us in doing it, it gives better data. And now the AI has better data to reason over, to do things like people want to get to. They like to skip to the end of the line, right? They want to do predictive analytics. They want to do all this fancy stuff with AI. But if the data's not there, it's just like process automation. We always used to tell our customers, if you're going to automate a process, you better know what the process is, or you're going to get, if you have a bad process, you're just going to make it a lot faster. Now, if you give AI bad data, it's just going to be a lot better at spitting out a lot more bad stuff, right? And that actually can create work. That's one of the disadvantages of Gen AI. If you're not thinking about applying it intelligently, it can actually put a lot of stuff out there that people now got to go look at and say, is that reasonable, or is that not good for me?
Yeah. So you guys have got the use case, and then it's just accelerating that use case. And then part of your uniqueness of your platform is it's actually leveraging that communication data to be in a place where you're pulling the data in, but you wouldn't have that unless you had the use case. I love it.
Yeah, we see it as kind of the virtuous upward spiral, right? The more we infuse AI in a symbiotic relationship with humans, you take work away from the humans, the mundane work, the more AI is going to get better, and it's going to let humans do more of the stuff that humans are better at, right? Leading in, in the case of project management, deconflicting priorities and things like that you really want the humans to be involved with doing.
The upward spiral.
Virtuous
I like
cycle.
that.
Virtuous upward spiral. I'm
going to take that. The upward. I'm going to tell my team, let's go get some upward spiral today.
I think I read that in an HBR article or something. I don't know. I can't think
there you go. So we already talked, Mike, about kind of ambitions, and you talked about your kind of purpose-driven intentionality from a partnership perspective. But any other closing thoughts on what you're hoping to achieve in 2025?
Well, from the Microsoft partnership, we obviously want to really learn, and I think we've got a pretty good idea, and I know you guys have a good idea what Microsoft is kind of going after. They've been pretty public about, Copilot. It's going to be a big year for Copilot. It's going to be a big year for security. So those are areas that we're really going to lean into, like I mentioned before, and really try to see how we can maximize these platform capabilities for our customers. So we really want to, for us, it's going to be about digging deeper into Microsoft and other partnerships. You talk about activating partnerships. We want to activate more partners to work with that can help bring our solution to market and for their benefit and their customers' benefit. So that's going to be a big piece of what we're working on in FY25, I think.
Yeah. Well, Mike, I love your story. I think you are a great example of what it means to be committed. It takes a lot to do the solution building work that y'all have done, and you're seeing the return and you're seeing the payoff. And I know that's inspiring for me, but probably really inspiring, across the community. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And looking forward to celebrating with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing you in Chicago shortly. And thanks for all the work that 3.7's done to help put us, in this amazing position.
100%.